Good afternoon. I'm Caleb Justice, student body president. This week we are celebrating Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week is celebrated across the country to highlight the importance of living a drug-free life. The theme this year is a puzzle, solve it drug-free. This theme reminds us that life is made up of many interconnected pieces. Our decisions, relationships, values, and experiences. Each piece influences the next, and together they form the larger picture of who we become. When we make healthy, drug-free choices, the pieces align into a meaningful, successful life. As part of our Red Ribbon Week activities, we have some special guests joining us today to share information, to answer questions, and to encourage us to live a positive, healthy life, to live life drug-free. At this time, Ms. Martin will introduce our guest speakers.
Okay, we actually have several guest speakers with us today, but I'm going to introduce our first one. Savannah Mead, Prevention Coordinator from ASAP of Anderson County, is here to speak to us about the dangers of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. Please help me welcome Ms. Savannah Mead.
Hello, everyone. Like she said, my name is Savannah. I'm a prevention coordinator with ASAP of Anderson. You all might have heard of ASAP of Anderson before. If not, that's all right. I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about alcohol and other drugs, what that does to your brain and your body, especially at this age. Maybe this is a repeat for some of you all. You all may already know this, you may not. But even if you do already know it, I'd appreciate it if you'd go along with me, because you're going to help be leaders for your families and for your little brothers, little sisters, anything like that, and have all this information to make healthy choices in the future. We're going to see if this is going to reach. I bet it doesn't. Boo. There we go. All right, so as I go through, if you have any questions, if you can raise your hand, or if you can, hold it to the very end so that we can get through all of our guest speakers. And we're just going to keep our ears open, keep our mouths closed, and we're going to have some fun and learn some new things today. I'm going to have to get a lovely assistant. Okay, so what exactly are drugs? Drugs or substances, they can be all sorts of different things, right? So when we think about them today, we're going to think about them in 3 different ways. We're going to think about medicine. So medicine you can get that at the store over the counter or with a prescription from a doctor. Medicine can be in a pill form, liquid form, maybe an inhaler if somebody needs an inhaler, things like that. Another classification of a drug is going to be something like dangerous chemicals. These things can be illegal, they can be harmful for you, and they can definitely hurt your brain and your body. And then we have things that are just for adults. So things like alcohol, cigarettes, vapes, all these things that you have to be 21 or over to purchase or use, those are still classified as drugs. They're just for adults only. So when drugs are used too much or in a way that is not how they are supposed to be used, this is what we call substance misuse. So this is something that ASAP of Anderson is trying to provide education and prevention for. So substance misuse is going to be the big thing we talk about today. This can look like a lot of different things. This can be adults drinking too much alcohol. This can be kids using vapes or drinking alcohol. And it can be using medicine prescribed by a doctor that's either not prescribed directly to you or using it how the doctor did not prescribe it. So taking too many, not finishing it, giving it to someone else, all sorts of things. So the reason why substance misuse and drugs can be so dangerous is because something can happen called addiction. Addiction is a chemical change in your brain that makes it hard to stop doing something. And all of the drugs we talk about today are addictive. So when I say addiction, what do I mean? Think about when you're doing something you really enjoy, like talking with a friend or eating your favorite meal ever. If you think about your favorite meal and you can picture it in your brain and you can almost smell it, it's so good. When you eat that meal, there's chemicals that get released in your brain called dopamine. This tells your body, I loved whatever that was, whether it's a juicy burger or something like that, I loved that. Next slide. Oh, here we are. Nope, next slide, please. So, if you think about all these chemicals in your brain as baseballs that get released into your brain, they need to be caught in your brain by baseball mitts. So I've eaten my favorite meal in the entire world, and I released 5 baseballs, and my brain has 5 baseball mitts, and I feel fulfilled, I feel happy, I feel like I am ready to take on the day because all of my baseballs are with all my baseball mitts. However, when someone uses a drug or a substance for the first time, this floods the brain with all these chemicals. So instead of 5 baseballs, now you've got 20 baseballs rattling around in there. Well, your brain has to create 15 more mitts so that all the baseballs have somewhere to go. But then we go back to our favorite meal of all time, and we can almost smell it. We're so excited to eat that meal again, but we've only released 5 baseballs. Did the meal get worse? Do I not like that burger as much as I used to? No. It just released 5 baseballs. So I've got 5 baseballs, 5 mitts, and 15 empty mitts. This can make us feel kind of unfulfilled, or it can make us sad. Why does this not give us the same feeling as before? It's not nothing to do with the burger, and it's got nothing to do with something that has changed in the environment. Your brain just doesn't know what to do with all these new chemicals. So that's my long-winded version of how addiction works. Anytime you interact with a substance, it changes those chemicals in your brain, and therefore your brain has to get new mitts to get those receptors. So talking about the different medication and different substances, medication from a doctor, it can come from a store or it can come from a pharmacy. People in the white coats. Who can give you medication? Blue jacket. Doctors. Who else could give you a medication? In the back? Your parents. What's one other person who could give you medication maybe? In the red jacket. Yep. Sure. Next slide, please. When we think about who can give us medication, that's going to be our parents, our guardians. If we're at school and we need medication throughout the day, these are going to be our teachers or our nurses. Can we take medication just whenever we feel like it by ourselves without an adult? No. Y'all nail this. Y'all already know. Next slide, please. Medicine can be for lots of different things. It can be to make you feel better. It can be when your body hurts or you've got pain going on. Pain medication can make your body function a little bit slower, make everything feel a little bit groggy. But some medication can increase your body function, and it can make everything feel rapid or like nothing's stopping, or make your heart rate increase. Next slide. When we think about those kinds of medicines, we're talking about stimulants. So stimulant is a type of drug that increases your body function, increases your heart rate. A lot of things like ADHD medication are classified as stimulants. So when we think of stimulants, I want us to think of the jitterbug. So using stimulants the wrong way can make you feel nervous, it can make you feel jittery, it can make it hard to sleep. My student athletes, it can also make it harder to perform on the field. You might think that making your body increase function would make it better to play sports, but if your heart rate's already increased and you're on the field and you're running around, that is just going to be a recipe for disaster, right? All right, moving on to alcohol. Alcohol are drinks that are only for adults. You have to be how old to drink alcohol? You all know that. So alcohol is something that can make you tired, it can make you dizzy, it can make it hard to have reaction time or see things clearly, all sorts of things. It can also impact your mood. It can make you feel sad. Alcohol is what we call a depressant, so it can make you feel sad. So kids should never drink alcohol, right? Not only is it illegal, it can harm your brain. Alcohol is still one of the drugs we've talked about, so it can change your brain chemicals. It can also make it really dangerous for your brain and body. Too much alcohol, even for adults, can make you really, really sick or even lead to some long-term consequences. So we want to make sure that our kiddos are never drinking alcohol. especially because it's illegal. And I don't know if you all have noticed, but we've got a couple of people with badges around here, so they don't want y'all seeing drinking alcohol either. So, cigarettes and vaping. This is a big one. It's really popular, right? It's a really, really popular drug for adults. So maybe you've seen people walking around with cigarettes that are lit. They are something that requires fire to light. They have tobacco and nicotine in them. Or vapes. Vapes are electronic devices that release an aerosol and only contain nicotine. Nicotine is going to be that chemical that causes the addiction that we've talked about. So cigarettes and vapes both use heat to burn those chemicals, and then people breathe in. If we're breathing in chemicals and breathing in stuff that is not oxygen, do we think our lungs like that, or do you think our lungs don't like that? They don't like that, right? It can be really dangerous for us to breathe in chemicals that are not meant to be there. Anything you're inhaling, your lungs immediately absorb, and that long-term use can cause lung damage, it can cause heart damage, it can infect every part of your body. Your brains especially. So when we talk about that addiction that's forming new pathways and doing things in your brain, you guys are at an age where you're constantly learning things, not just in school, but also making new friends and learning new skills there. Maybe you're into a game that you're learning strategy for, or you're learning something on the field. These chemicals can impact how well you are able to remember and learn those things. And you all are too smart and too good and too young to be impacting your brain in that way, right? So when we think about cigarettes, in a pack of cigarettes, there's about 22 milligrams of nicotine, so around 20 cigarettes. But when we look at vapes, what might change there? So, Juul Pod was an early version of a vape. It was something that was really, really popular early on. But when we look at those numbers, they had around 37 cigarettes in one Juul. That's way more. That's almost 2 packs, right? That doesn't seem right. Well, if we look at another brand of vapes, oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know if y'all saw that. That number jumped really, really high. A Flume Floop was the type of vape that looked like a soda bottle or a milkshake. It had a straw out of it. First of all, that seems a little silly. We don't want to be walking around with those. But not only that, equivalent to 363 cigarettes. Guys, that is wild to me. We went from 20 cigarettes or 37 cigarettes to 363. That's so many. When we think about another vape that was called an Elf Bar, it was around the size of a palm. How many cigarettes do y'all think maybe that had? If this one had 363. 1,000? 586. That seems very interesting. I like that number. Yep. 800? Okay. Let's see. We've got a lot of good numbers here. If you can give me a drum roll, please. Oh my goodness, who said 590 or 580? That is crazy, you guys. We have jumped from 20 cigarettes in a pack of cigarettes, or 37 in an early form of a vape, to 590 cigarettes. Do you think that your body is really, really loving how many cigarettes are in a vape? No, it is not a fan, right? All of these things is just nicotine and chemicals impacting our lungs, our brains, our hearts, all sorts of things. So, all sorts of brands have different types of nicotine, or different amounts of nicotine, I should say. And so it's really hard to tell. That's why if somebody has a vape, especially somebody who's not 21 years old, and they think, it's not harmful, I know what's in it, we really don't. We really have no idea at least the amount of nicotine inside of it. So it's something to think about, especially if older brothers, older sisters, or anything like that are having vapes around and they think it's not that bad. I want you to remember that for you, the healthy choice is to think twice about that, and to make sure you're remembering that it could be truly any amount of nicotine in there. So that wraps up for me. I can take maybe a couple of questions, or do we want to move on to our other speakers as well? Let's do 2 or 3 questions. So, right here in the middle. Yeah. Why do kids even have access to these things? This is such a good question, guys. So when we think about all the different things we've talked about, when we look at medication, maybe medication's not been stored properly. Medication should be somewhere high up where you all can't reach it, or maybe even in a locked container. That way nobody can get into it accidentally, or maybe even little brother, little sister, little dog, little cat doesn't know what it is, thinks it's candy or something just lying around. That's one way that kids can gain access to it. When it comes to vapes and alcohol and things like that, this can be stuff that is around, or maybe older family members or older adults are offering it to younger kids. And if somebody offers you something and you don't really want to and it looks kind of dangerous, or maybe it is a drug or maybe it isn't, what do you say if somebody offers you that? No, thank you. No, you already know. You can just walk away. You can do all sorts of things, right? So if somebody is offering this thing to you and they say, I've done it and I'm fine, we know that there's other things happening that maybe we can't see. So that's a great question. There's a lot of different ways that kids can get access to it, but a big part of it is saying, no, that's not for me. I'm going to make healthy choices. Yes.
So like, if you say no, what if they keep chasing you around?
If somebody tells you no and they're chasing you around, whether this is an adult or somebody you know or anything like that, there are tons of adults in this room, raise your hand, that you can come and talk to and say, hey guys, this creep is following me and trying to give me something and I don't want anything part of it. If you're alone and you have a phone or you see an adult that has a phone, what number do you call to reach the police? Okay. You all already know these answers. If someone's really persistent, first of all, if it's somebody you know, they're probably not really a good friend if they're being persistent after you've already said no. And there are tons of adults in here that you can trust to help you out in that situation. Last question, yes.
Why do people think doing drugs is a good thing?
Why do people think doing drugs is a good thing? Well, when we think about that burger that we really, really liked and it released those chemicals in our brain, those chemicals are dopamine, those are happy chemicals. We know that we ate that burger, that food was good for us, it nourished our bodies, and so it released those chemicals. All your brain knows is that those chemicals got released. So drugs and other substances kind of trick your brain into releasing happy chemicals, even though it's not actually things that are good for your body. That's why doing things that are good for you, especially when you're stressed or having a lot of emotions, doing things that are good for you and also release those happy chemicals, they lead to a healthier life in the long run. Does that make sense? All right, I think that's going to wrap up my questions for now. Thank you guys so much for having me. I hope you all enjoy Red Ribbon Week.
All right, Lakers, what do we say to Miss Mead? All right. John Thomas, Chief of Rocky Top Police Department, has been a police officer for 28 years and the chief for 2 years. He has worked in all areas of police work, including patrol, drug investigations, detectives, supervision, and leadership. He was a K-9 handler for 12 years and a K-9 trainer for 5. Chief Thomas is also college educated with a master's degree in business and a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. He lives in Campbell County with his wife, who is a paralegal, their corgi dog Diana, cat Loretta, a lizard, and a ball python snake. Chief and Mrs. Thomas have 5 children who are grown, and they have seen the risks and problems of young people dealing with the availability and temptations of drugs and alcohol while growing up. Lakers, please help me welcome Chief Thomas.
I need to adjust that down because I'm shorter. When Ms. Martin asked me to come and speak to you guys, I was more than happy to. She told me what the event was, and I said, yeah, I will definitely be there. I reached out to Ms. Savannah, who you all saw her presentation. That's going to be tough to follow. She did a really good job, didn't she? Yeah, gotcha. I got with me my Deputy Chief, Matt McGee. He's going to come over here and help me. That's that peer pressure. What do you do? Do you say no? He's here for moral support. So like Ms. Martin said, I've been a police officer for 28 years. On our uniforms, we wear the stripes showing 1 for every 4 years. In December, I get to get another one when I hit that 28-year mark, and then get to go from there. Deputy Chief McGee's been a police officer for a long time. In that time, we've seen a lot of stuff and had a lot of experiences. Miss Martin had asked me if there was maybe a story or something that I could share that would fit in with your all's Red Ribbon Week. Before we do that, you heard about the different police stuff that I've done. He's done just as much in other areas and all that stuff. Anybody got any questions? We'll take one or two before we get into story time.
Do you like being a chief?
I do. It's a lot of work, and it's a whole lot more work than I thought it would be before I became a chief. You know, I'd always worked for other chiefs for years and thought, well, I'll do it this way. Well, I found out it's a whole lot more complicated, and you got to consider a whole lot more stuff. But yeah, I do like it because when we do good work, it helps keep our community safe, helps keep our schools safe. It is a very fulfilling job. Light blue shirt.
Have you or your family ever had past experiences with drugs?
We have, yes, and I'll get into that whenever I get into story time, all right? One more. Right there with your arm out. Go ahead.
Why do we wear red on Red Ribbon Week?
I think I'm going to turn that question around and ask you all. Somebody tell me why you wear red on Red Ribbon Week. Green shirt in the back.
Because it's Red Ribbon Week, so it's basically where you wear all one color throughout that week, and they'll do like different things, fight drugs.
Gotcha. Thank you. I had to wear blue because this is kind of our uniform. All right. So in thinking about a story to tell you, what's the theme of Red Ribbon Week? I had heard your student body president said it earlier. Somebody else tell me. Black hoodie. What about drugs, though? There was something specific, wasn't it? Maroon? Life is a puzzle and... I'm sorry, I still didn't hear. Live it drug-free, right. And it's all about choices, right? So the story that I wanted to tell you all about is a young man that I had come into contact with. His name is Nicholas, okay? So Nicholas, whenever I first met him, he was 10. Is that older or younger than 4th and 5th grade? It's about the same, isn't it? So close, younger than a few of you all in here, maybe slightly older than the rest of you, but he was 10 whenever I first met him. Nicholas had a little sister. His mom and dad had been married, normal family. The dad worked at I want to say something with manufacturing, and the mom was a nurse. They had split up. Anybody come from a split home? I know I have. You don't have to raise your hands, but, you know, he had those kinds of struggles there. In school, Nicholas had a hard time with fitting in. He had some issues where he had to take medication to help him be normal, and that's something that a lot of people go through and all of that. But he just wanted to fit in really badly with everybody. So what would happen to Nicholas, sometimes, you know, he would get left out of things because he had a little bit of acting out problems with being, you know, aggressive whenever he was upset and things like that. He also really wanted to fit in badly, so when somebody asked him if he wanted to go along with something that he should have known better, should have known wasn't right, he would go along with it because he wanted to have friends. Unfortunately, these people wanting him to go along with these things aren't real friends if they're wanting you to do bad stuff, right? So he had gotten in trouble in school, had to go to special classes, but he really wanted to do computer work, wanted to program computer stuff, games and stuff like that. He had the same normal hobbies that any of you kids would have. Somebody give me some examples of some hobbies. Gray shirt. Softball. He liked playing sports. His game was soccer. He loved playing soccer. I already asked you one, but I'll let you do it again. Basketball. He played a little bit of basketball. Back here in the gray. I can't hear you. Football, yes, he liked playing football too. He liked going camping. His dad had a camper, and that was a family thing that they would go. Whenever he was at his dad's house, they would do a family camping trip and go to different parks. Anybody else here like to camp? I see a lot of people that like to camp. And fishing. If you go camping, if you're somewhere near the water, you got to go fishing. So they would build bonfires, and they would, you know, cook food and fish and things like that. He also liked playing video games. That's why he wanted to program video games, and that's what he hoped to be whenever he grew up, right? So whenever Nicholas turned about 13 or 14, he had his first experience with drug stuff. Somebody from one of his friend circles, some of these people that aren't really your friends trying to get you to do wrong things, got him to smoke marijuana. Y'all know what marijuana is? I think Miss Savannah spoke about it in her presentation there. And it's one of those things that, is it legal for adults? No, not legal for kids, not legal for adults either. So he started messing around with that. And he did it mainly as a way to try to fit in with other kids. You know, these bad kids in these circles, you know, pushing him to do things like that, and that's what he chose to do. So after that, these bad friends asked him to try stuff worse. Next thing that he went on to was prescription medication. When should we take prescription medication? Right here in the gray.
When you have some sort of condition.
Exactly. You've went to a doctor, and a doctor who goes to school and has all this experience and knows what the reasons are for people to take medication, says, yes, here's your prescription, and you'll take that medication. If you take a medication that's not meant for you, it can have bad outcomes, right? It's not helping the person to fix the problem that they need the medication for, and it can do other things. So from there, he started really getting in trouble with school, got kicked out for fighting, because one of the bad side effects that Nicholas had from this was that he got really aggressive. He got in trouble with being mean towards teachers, fighting with other kids and things like that. So he had to go to more than just a school or a classroom setup for helping people, you know, that have behavioral problems too, where, okay, these kids are, you know, really dangerous to other kids, and we don't need that. So Nicholas finished up high school, almost, because he started trying other worse drugs, hard illegal street drugs. He got addicted to methamphetamine. And whenever he did that, he just lost all interest in school. He lost all interest in doing anything with planning on going to a trade school after high school to learn how to do computer programming. So he dropped out of school 2 months before graduating. How long is 2 months? Somebody tell me. How many days? 60 days, correct. Yes, 60 days away. That would be like the distance it is right now until, what's the next holiday in 60 days? Christmas, exactly. That's not too far away, is it, guys? So he was that close to finishing and having his certificate for graduating high school, his diploma, and he would be able to go to a trade school or a college or something like that. But he had lost all interest because of making the bad choices and going along with the pressure from these other bad friends, right? So from there, Nicholas had problems at home. He started stealing. Yeah, stealing's wrong, right? We don't do that to other people, and we don't like them doing that to us. That's really, really bad. And stealing from your family. But it was because he got addicted because of, like Miss Savannah talked about with the baseball mitts, and the normal things that satisfy by putting a baseball in that glove didn't work anymore, and he had to have the drugs, right? So from there, if he's grown up, if he's an adult, and he's stealing from his family, family can't let him stay there, right? He moved out on his own voluntarily and decided to live homeless over in Knoxville. His family tried to take care of him. They'd bring him food, they'd bring him clothes and things like that, because it's still your loved one, and you know, it's still your family, and you don't want them to be in a bad situation. But Nicholas was making a lot of those bad choices himself. So his family tried to get him to go to like a hospital rehabilitation clinic, right? So basically it's like a hospital where he gets to stay there. They give him food, they give him clothing, they give him medication to help him try to get over this addiction to the dangerous drugs, right? I think the first time he stayed there 3 weeks. His family said that they got really happy, you know, they're like, hey, he's trying to fix this. He's trying to, you know, take care of this and make better decisions, and he was. But then he met a girl, and he fell in love with her, and unfortunately she had also made bad decisions and all that, so he left and still lived homeless in the woods over in Knoxville. Still was stealing things, still was using the money from the things that he stole to buy drugs. And so he got arrested a few times. He stayed in the shelter for a little bit over in Knoxville, but he couldn't stay there because he wouldn't quit doing drugs and he wouldn't quit fighting with other people there. So they, told him that he couldn't stay there anymore. And then he went with some people who tried to get him to write some bad checks, to go around and cash some fake checks to take money from other people from their bank accounts. And he got caught doing that. And he went to jail, and he was able to find drugs while he was in jail, so he overdosed. Overdose is when you have so much of those baseballs and not enough mitts for them, and then your body starts to shut down, and it can cause you to die. But he didn't die. They were able to save him. So then he got out of jail. He got put on probation. You know what probation is? I'll go ahead and explain it, but I think it's where he had to check in. To keep from having to stay in jail, he had to check in and show that he was trying to get him a job. He had to show them that he was not doing drugs, because they would do testing to find out if he was. He had to show them that he wasn't out, stealing things anymore. So he's on probation, where he had a probation officer that he would have to check in with every time. But he decided that he still wanted to stay with this girl who was still doing the bad things and still doing drugs and all of that. His family still tried to help him. They still tried to make sure that he checked in with his probation officer. They tried to help him find jobs to do to get money to pay for his court fees and things like that he had to do. That's a consequence of the bad choices he made, right? It was his own choices to get there, and he's trying to fix it. So he ended up, his dad let him move into a family member's house that they had, and he got him a job, and he was working, right? He started going to school. And he was going to a trade school after he got his GED, which is the replacement for not finishing high school like he should have before. But he dropped out 60 days before, remember? So he had to do this. It took him 6 months to make up for that time he lost for those 60 days. And so he was going to this trade school to learn how to do computer programming and all of that. And it was hard for him, but he really focused on it because he really wanted to do it and all that stuff. And then he got around some more bad people, him and the girlfriend, and they got into drugs again. And they had all sorts of people also doing bad things and stealing things and committing other crimes and using drugs in this family member's house, so they got kicked out. And then they decided to move out of state, and they moved up there and tried to get into some different programs and to do some different things to get clean, to rehabilitate, to recover from the drug addiction. But they still continued to make bad choices until one night Nicholas went into a recovery house where they're supposed to, help them to get sober, to get clean, to not be using drugs. And he had snuck some drugs in, and he used it. And he overdosed, but nobody was there to help him. So he died. He died on February 18th of last year, and Nicholas was my stepson. And me and his mom had tried to help him and try to help him to make better decisions, but he chose not to. Who was in charge of those decisions? No. He was, that's right. And the same way for you all. You'll be exposed to things like that, but you're your own person. You're the person that can make those better decisions and decide not to do those things. And if you've got people that are like that, decide, that's not the type of person I want to be around. Because stories like that are sad, and you don't want any of your family members to have those stories. So making those best decisions now keeps from taking those bad steps that end up a lot worse, because at the beginning it may seem like a small thing, but then you say, no, that's not me and that's not what I'm about, because the decisions you make now show what you can do in life, what you can do for a job, what you can do after you grow up. So there's my story. Anybody got questions? Right here in the white shirt. It was 1.5 years ago. Right here in the black hoodie.
How long were you step
For 14 years. So I saw him from the time he was 10 whenever me and his mama first got married. Right here in the black short sleeve shirt.
So, you said this happened, half a year ago?
A year and a half, yeah.
Was then that was 6 months ago.
I'm sorry, what?
Then that was 6 months ago.
18 months ago, a year and a half. Yep. Right here. He was 23. Yeah, not very old, huh? Right here. How long what? From the time he was 14 so until 23, so 9 years. Yeah. Back in the gray. I can't hear you. I still couldn't hear him. Correct. That's right. That's a good rule to live by. All right. One more. Anybody else? In the blue.
Did he ever hit his girlfriend?
I don't know if he did. I know that whenever he was in our house and he would not want to take his medication for his mental health that his doctor had prescribed him, he would get really aggressive with his mom and threaten to hit her. He didn't do that before the problems with the drugs, though. Last one.
Did his girlfriend ever get clean?
I don't know. I've talked to her. She's still out of state, and every now and then she will call. She's still trying. I don't think she's there, but she's still trying. Yeah. All right. That's all I got, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Chief Thomas, for sharing that very personal story. We appreciate that, and I hope that that is a lesson to everybody in here. At this time, we want to welcome Mr. Frank, who is going to be your middle school counselor when you all get to the middle school. And he has brought with him his Laker leaders, so let's welcome them, please.
Do I need to be in front of this? Yes. All right. So we're gonna do something real quick. I'll let them introduce herself in just a second, but I need all you guys to stand up. Just stand up where you are. Do it nice and quickly. Thank you. Perfect. All right, listen. So this row, sit down. Stand up. Sit down this row. Stand up. Stand up. Sit. Sit. And sit and stand. Okay? All the people, I'm just using this as a percentage, okay? And this may be a lie, but this is the best information that I got, okay? The people that are standing up are the ones, on a percentage-wise, that have stated that they will never use drugs by the time they graduate high school. So the people that have sat down, should be right around 50%. Even after discussing Red Ribbon Week, even after seeing something tough go through their family, will still use drugs or alcohol. Now, I'm not saying you guys are doing that. I just wanted you to see how many people that you're sitting next to can still be influenced to use drugs and alcohol. Is that not scary and kind of crazy at the same time? All right, sit down, guys. Yeah, we'll do it in a second. So something I wanted you guys to see is just to be able to visually see how it can impact, okay? I have family members and I have a story just very quickly, and then I'm going to allow you guys to ask some questions of them. These are all 8th graders, okay? They are still young and very new to all this, but just a short story about me. These guys don't even know this about me, but I was a senior in high school. And my 3 best friends were in high school, and they told me, they said, hey, we got spring break coming up on Friday. We're going to bring some alcohol to school, and we're going to drink the alcohol in 4th period, and then we're all going to hang out, and then we'll leave school together. And I was like, yeah, these are all my best friends. This is what we're going to do. And I got to school that morning, and I was like, I don't think I want to. I just don't want to do that. I was raised better than that. I just don't think I'm going to do that. I end up not going with them, okay? They drank alcohol. They got suspended from school. They didn't graduate. They didn't go to college. One of them had a scholarship to play football at the University of Tennessee and ended up not going, all because of one mistake that he made with drugs and alcohol. I didn't go that day. And I'm standing here in front of you guys after I graduated college. I played baseball in college, and now I get to work with kids every day. So one time that you think, okay, it's just one time, it's not going to make a difference, it can very much make a difference, okay? You guys are going to be influenced and pressured, even if they're your best friends. Stay away from drugs and alcohol, okay, guys? So I got some questions that I'm going to ask these guys after they introduce themselves. So if y'all will come down this way, you're going to introduce yourself. You can say if you played a sport or something like that, if you want to do that, okay? But we'll start with this guy right here.
My name's Tyson Powers. I play football at Lake City Middle School.
Okay, shoot down this way.
My name is Wesley Townsend, and I play football at Lake City Middle School.
My name's Carson Weber, and I play football at Lake City Middle School.
My name's Gabby Green. I play volleyball and basketball at Lake City Middle School.
My name's Raleigh Kennedy. I do cheer, basketball, and volleyball at Lake City Middle School.
My name's Tinley Long, and I don't do a sport.
She doesn't do a sport. That's okay. All right, slide back down this way, guys. All right, so I'm going to ask, we'll start with Tyson first. So I'm going to ask Tyson a question off here. We already know that he plays basketball and football, okay? Right? Do you
Yeah.
do basketball still?
Yeah.
Okay, so he does basketball and football. Would you be able to do basketball and football if drugs and alcohol and tobacco were a part of your life?
No,
Why?
because they have a bad impact on your health,
Okay.
and they could lead to shortness of breath and not as much stamina as
Okay.
you would have if you were healthy and had a clean body.
Yeah. You think you would have been able to be quarterback and make a decision on who to throw the ball to?
No,
No. So you think if Tyson's doing drugs and alcohol in 8th grade that he's going to be successful on the basketball court or football field? No. All right, Wesley, let's see what you got, man. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a hard question for us. Wesley, if your best friends were out and about and you guys were around some people and they were like, hey man, let's get some alcohol. Do you think you should be spending time with these people? Or do you think you should tell them? Or do you think, how would you address that? If you're hanging out with your friends and they wanted to get some alcohol, what would you do in that situation?
If it was me, I wouldn't not be friends with them anymore, but I'd tell them it's not good for you,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So even with your own friends?
Yeah.
Wow. Would you guys be willing to stand up to one of your friends if they were doing drugs, alcohol, or were around vapes? Guys, that stuff is very much real.
This guy's not.
When you're in middle school, you're going to get pressure. You guys are getting pressure right now as 4th and 5th graders. That's why we're having this talk with you guys. We want you to be aware that just because somebody says, dude, I got a vape. It is strawberry flavored. It is awesome. Okay? You don't know that it's just strawberry. It could be fentanyl. Does anybody know what fentanyl is? Okay. Fentanyl is something that it can affect you like this, and you can die within a heartbeat. You can't trace it. I'm guessing from police officers. Can't trace it. You can't smell it. You don't know it's even on it. So do not touch a vape. If you see one on the ground, you see anything on the ground, whatever, leave it alone. Tell something about it. Don't even just run away from it, okay? Thank you, Wesley. That was a good answer, buddy. Let's see. What'd you say, man? Did you have a question? What'd you say? Oh. Carson. This is Carson Wayne. Weber. Carson Wayne Weber. Do you know someone who is or who has been affected by drugs and alcohol?
Yes.
If so, how did it affect you or your family or your relationship with this person?
It changed their life a bunch. They couldn't see their kids no more.
Wow.
They couldn't drive. They couldn't go places by themselves or anyone, even if they were an adult.
Yeah. And that's kind of hard to do. We all have somebody, unfortunately, that we can probably name off that has been affected by drugs, alcohol. How close are we on time? Good. I have 2 cousins that I don't get to see no more. I grew up with them. I was at their house all the time, and I no longer get to see them. They each have 2 kids apiece, and they don't know their kids at all. And I know that's very tough on them, but I'm sure you guys have went through something like that. You know somebody that's dealt with drugs and alcohol, or even vapes. Vapes can change your life. They change how you act. They change who you are. And they change your personality. I'll be honest, guys. When you get to middle school, I'm super happy and kind of annoying. These guys will probably tell you that. But I want you guys to know that you are loved every minute that you're in school with me, and I will always try to protect you. So if you ever think something like that is going on, and you don't have to wait till middle school. Miss Martin, one of your teachers is here. You can go up to them and be like, hey, this is what's going on. I know somebody, or I know somebody that's messing with a vape. You're not being a rat. You're not telling on them. You're kind of saving them, okay? Thank you, Carson Wayne Weber. All right, Miss Gabby Green. What can you say to someone who tries to pressure you into trying something dangerous or unhealthy? Imagine it's Riley, and Riley's being a bad influence and trying to pressure you, Gabby. What are you going to say to her?
I think the best thing to say is, I don't think that's good for you. If you want to do that, that's fine. But me personally, I'm not going to do that because your health comes before your friends.
Valid. Good girl. Good answer. Okay. What do you want to be when you grow up, Riley?
Architect.
An architect? Okay. So Riley wants to be an architect when she gets out of school. Do you know how much schooling that takes?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. So it's going to take some college. It's going to take probably some like design school, something like that, okay? Engineering, it's a pretty big field. Do you think you would be able to do your career if you were doing drugs, alcohol? Do you think that would affect you being able to do your career? And if so, how?
I know it would because I would not be able to think. I wouldn't be able to remember anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to really focus to remember anything.
What if Riley wanted to be an architect and build this auditorium? Would you trust her to build this opportunity if she's on drugs and alcohol? Absolutely not. I wouldn't trust her at all. All right, we will try to do like 6 or 7 more questions and we'll kind of go from there, okay? You guys got to liven up, man. All right, Miss Tinley. Let's do one more question. Okay, do y'all know what the theme is for this week?
Red ribbon.
But what is your theme for Red Ribbon Week? Hang on. You can't do it in sequence, then I ain't gonna be able to hear you. Let's go with you.
Life is a puzzle, so live it drug-free.
Life is a puzzle, so live it drug-free. What are some puzzles and problems that you face, Miss Tinley, as a young person, and how can you help get through these problems? What are some things that you see as in a middle school that you deal with, that deal with Red Ribbon Week? Is that a tough question? Do you mean to rephrase it? Okay. In your school, in your friends, what's some things that you face that are tough just being a middle schooler?
What are some challenges that you go through that make middle school hard?
Yeah. Would you be able to go through middle school if you were on drugs and alcohol?
No, I would not.
Okay. What'd you say, Riley?
Oh, nothing. I told you what to say.
Okay. What about your relationship? What if you were in a relationship? What if you had a boyfriend and he was doing drugs and alcohol, but you really, really cared for him? What would you think?
Well, I would just like tell them to stop. Like, it's just not good for you.
Yeah.
And like sometimes like drugs can make people like happy, or like they can change their personality, or like
Yep.
their way, like how they treat you.
Yep.
So like if they like use drugs, it's just like just stop.
Yep.
And if they don't stop, it's gonna be like just yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Guys, let's give them a round of applause. All right, come back over this way. Come back over this way. All right, so like I said, we're going to do a few more questions. You okay with that? I want you guys to ask them some questions about middle school. Now, don't be like, do they fight? We haven't had a fight all year. No, that's a lie. I think we had one, but it was, there's literally not haven't been that many. Yeah, it's one or two, literally like one or two. Y'all
One every 6 days.
So I want you to ask them a couple of questions. It can be about Red Ribbon Week. It can be about anything to do with that. But I want you to stand up, and not everybody. When you ask the question, stand up and say your name. I don't want to just be like, you, okay? Because I like to know your name. You're important to me. And so I want to at least hear your name when you ask the question, okay? I'm going to let you guys call on them, okay? So when they stand, make sure you point to them and then say your name, and then they can ask your question, okay? No, you can answer it however. You can all answer it. But I'm giving you guys some free reign.
Miles,
So
I got mine.
No, I'm gonna do it.
have at it. Go ahead, call on somebody there, guys.
Miles.
Up there. Another one?
Miles, did you have a question? Was that your name? Miles? What's your question, babe?
Asking if he knows Taza. Asking.
Quit.
How hard it is to pass middle school? Ooh. Is middle school tough?
I mean, for me, it's pretty easy, but I mean, they help you a lot more in middle school. And you get 4 different teachers. I don't know how y'all do it, but like when we was in elementary school, we got one teacher for every grade, like every classroom, and he was assigned a certain class. So you get 4 teachers, and each of them know like different subjects. So it's like easier to get taught by a teacher who knows more about math, and then them trying to teach English. So it's easier for the math teacher to teach math and the English teacher to teach the English. So
Valid. And y'all want to add anything to that? Middle school being tough, grade-wise? Okay. Y'all want to call on somebody else?
You.
Have y'all ever,
Stand up, say your name.
now have y'all ever seen someone doing drugs in school?
Not in school, no.
Not in the school. What about out of school?
yeah,
You gotta be honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Answer.
Yeah. Riley will answer that.
I have in the bathroom is a big thing, and personally, I always go and tell on them. Got to be a good kid. Highly suggest it. It really helps them.
But also, like, you have to be careful. So, like, you know that you have adults that you can talk to, right? Like, I know I have different adults. He's one of them that I go up to with my problems. But you can't do and, like, tell in every little thing you see. You just have to do the right thing. So, if you see it, tell the teacher, but make sure that you don't tell your friends, and then, because that could be hurtful to that person.
Could be. All right. Good job. I'll take that answer.
Right there. Black hoodie.
Black hoodie. Stand up, say your name, yes. Do you know who that is?
That's Miss Enix's.
What's 8th grade like? So hard?
8th grade. So 7th grade, in my opinion, was harder, and 6th grade was pretty easy. But 8th grade has been the best. You get more, like, they give you more leniency about what you can do and stuff.
So do you know what leniency means? Okay, so it means a little bit of like privilege, you gotta get some more freedom, but do you also know what comes with freedom and leniency?
Responsibility.
Ooh, who's that guy? You say that? Good job, girly. Responsibility. So when you have to be responsible for your actions. Because I trust them, just like their parents trusted me, which I'm not really sure why. They got out of school for a little bit today to come talk to you guys. It's about building trust. It's about building relationships. It's about understanding your job, your purpose in life. Okay? So remember that. Leniency, freedom comes more responsibility. Even when you get to high school, these guys are going to figure that out next year. So let's go. Maybe one or two more.
Call 'em.
All right, call on somebody.
Green shirt.
Jackson.
Green shirt. Stand up. Say your name, man. Jackson. Let's go, Jackson. What is it like?
I don't care.
Tinley, you
Yeah, Tinley, you need to answer one.
Peer pressure.
Middle school is a lot different from elementary school. It's nothing to like be scared about. Like you get used to it really quick. I like middle school a lot. There's a lot more freedom, but like we said, freedom comes with more responsibility. So you have to be very responsible for yourself. But if you are a good student and you get your work done, then there's a lot of freedom, and middle school is really fun.
I got a couple things to add. Your friend group will change no matter what. I thought I'd have the same friends going up, and I've had many different friends. And that will determine on how it will go for you, because if you hang out with the bad kids, you will start making bad decisions. And if you're a student athlete, that will really affect you, because I've seen my friends get in trouble at sports, and some even get kicked off, and it doesn't go good for them.
Tinley, we'll do our last question.
Mr. Frank, can we add on real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Add on.
Most of us here are in sports, and so we've all found that if you may not be like a sporty person, but if you engage in clubs, we have a lot of clubs for different groups of people. So you may not like basketball, but you may like Lego club. So there's all kinds of different clubs, and it makes it a lot better for your middle school experience.
All right, Tinley, let's pick a girl. Right there in front of your feet. Right here, darling. Stand up and say your name. Say it again.
Selena.
Okay. What's your question?
How do y'all like middle school, and are y'all ready for the high school?
Ooh, that's a good question. Are you ready for high school?
Wait.
I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Let me say something else when she gets.
I'm kind of interested in this answer.
Okay, so I'm super excited for high school.
Be loud.
Super excited for high school.
I'm super excited for high school, cause like everyone has told me that you get more freedom, but middle school has been like really fun, and like yeah, and the teachers are super nice, and I get a lot more help, and yeah.
But they're going to miss someone, right?
Oh, we'll
Yeah,
miss you.
we'll miss Mr. Duncan.
Oh! Look at this guy. Who is this guy?
Mr. Fritz.
Don't forget about Mr. Frank, though.
Hey!
And
So, go ahead.
you've also got all the other teachers to pick from, but personally, he's one of my favorite.
Trying to throw everybody else in.
Yeah, Gabby, wow.
All right, so let's give him a round of applause, guys.
I got excited.
One thing that I want to remind you guys, you have a short amount of time before you get to this spot, okay? This was my first group that came in, and they don't know this, but I was about ready to quit when they first got to 6th grade. But they have rolled into one of my favorite groups. I love this group. They've matured a ton. They've grown up, and they are definitely ready for high school, okay? I will miss them when they go to high school, but to be honest, they've taught me a lot. So when you guys come to middle school, remember these things. Remember about being a leader. Remember the freedom. Remember the independence. Remember those things to where you can continue to be a better person. Okay? Got me? Thanks, guys.
Mr. Frank.
6, 7.
Okay, you all have heard. All right. All right, can we get a picture, Mr. Frank, real quick before y'all leave? Y'all have heard a lot of information today, and I hope y'all have soaked that in, and you can learn from other people's experiences and learn from their knowledge, and I just hope that it's something that sticks with you.